right. Welcome to Not Suitable for Adults. It's a podcast for kid stuff, but with grown-ups.
Cora is standing here with us, and she looked at me. She went, "Yes,
yes, that is what this is.
Exactly what it is." Cora, really, we can get into our regular spiel in a minute. I think Cora kind of wanted to participate.
Yeah,
today.
we'll do a quick jump ahead. One of the things we're going to be talking about this week is the Disney Pixar film Luca, and Cora wants to tell you some of her thoughts about Luca. So here is Cora.
Come here, baby.
Hello. This is kind of a weird show because they could turn into sea monsters.
Right. What else? Did you like the movie?
Yes.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about Luca?
When he's sea monster.
When he turns into a sea monster?
Mm-hmm.
What about when he's eating all that pasta?
It was funny.
What did you learn when watching Luca? What did it teach you?
What?
Did it teach you anything?
What did it teach me?
We're asking you, did you learn anything when you watched Luca?
No.
No?
Did you learn things in a different language?
Oh yeah, did they say a different language?
They said different language and the normal language.
The different language and the normal language.
Yeah, they said things in Italian and English, right?
Do it right. Come on. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right.
I don't... Wait, my face is too close to the...
Yeah, don't put your face on the microphone.
It's supposed to be close.
Thank you, Cora. So yeah, before we get into it, we're like, so it's been a couple weeks now.
I don't even want to get into why that is.
Yeah. Suffice it to say, we're recording on a new computer. It took a while today to get all the bugs worked out, but we're here.
We also have taken a while to get all of our bugs worked out.
We have also had some bugs. Mm-hmm. There's been bugs in us and bugs in the machines. Mm-hmm. And all the bugs now, for the most part, are gone.
Hopefully.
No more bugs. We're bug-free in Tennessee.
Hopefully. We're still waiting on my computer to get fixed.
That's true. The day this new computer arrived, Natalie's computer decided it didn't have a hard drive anymore. It didn't care.
Yeah, it just decided, you know what? I'm done with my hard drive. I just have decided I don't have one in me.
You are telling me I have a hard drive, and I disagree. It's what it said. So now we're waiting on that to be repaired. But we did watch some fun and funny things for children, for the youngins,
For the youngies.
for the youngies. Mm-hmm. And since we've already sort of spoiled that we did it, let's talk about Luca. Mm-hmm. How did you like Luca?
I thought it was cute. I didn't know much about Luca going into seeing Luca, so I actually, excuse me. I actually didn't even really realize it was a Pixar movie until as we were watching it, and you were like, "This doesn't look like Pixar," and I was like, "Is it Pixar?" And you were like, "Yeah." It's surprising to me because it does not look like a Pixar movie.
Yeah,
I feel like Pixar has a very specific animation style. And this does not have that. Yeah,
they broke some of the Pixar sort of traditions with this one. I told Natalie about this. I watched the Honest trailer for Luca came out. And if you don't watch Honest trailers on YouTube, you should do that. It's a funny bit.
Yeah, they're good.
It's usually about 5 minutes on why the movie that they're reviewing is like either good or whatever, but like it tells it like it is. It's honest.
Yeah.
And it starts out and it goes like, from the studio that forces you to have an existential crisis and question your childhood.
Yeah.
And it goes, and then it's like, comes a fun summer romp about two boys just like learning to be out in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally a feel good movie, and it it doesn't make you question everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no existential crisis in this one. There's no
like, it's not like Soul, where you thought about souls.
Yeah,
like,
where you have to determine, like, let's spend an hour and a half thinking about what it is to exist and what all of our purpose on Earth is.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean there's nothing here. Like, there's nothing. There's plenty emotional here. This is, and we won't spoil it. Hopefully, you have a chance to see it. It's on Disney Plus. But like you can tell from the trailer, a lot of this, it's a young boy who is a sea monster, living off the coast of Italy somewhere.
So that's kind of what Cora was talking about. Was a lot. They speak a lot of Italian. In this movie, and it makes it feel very genuine.
They do speak a lot of Italian, but they also do a lot of joke Italian.
Yeah.
Not in a mean way, I think, but like there's this one girl, Julia, who is like one of the friends they meet along the way, sort of thing, and she through the whole movie says like Santa ricotta, and every time it's a different cheese. It's always like Santa mozzarella. It's always which is, I mean, that's a funny joke. But there's a lot of joking about like eating a ton of pasta and all these things that.
But it's not like they're making fun of Italians.
No, not at all.
That's what I mean by like it was genuine. It felt like it, and even like the credits at the beginning, a lot of it was in Italian when it was, coming up like. What am I saying? The credits.
Yeah,
the title, credits, the opening credits.
The opening credits make it look like it is an Italian film. Yeah, it's pretty cute. It's so basically the overall plot is this young man. He's a sea monster, and
this young man.
He's a young man.
Makes it.
He's a little boy.
It feels he's a little boy. It makes a young man to me sounds
he's like 10, 11.
I know, but I don't know. That feels weird. I wouldn't call him a young man.
I wasn't doing anything with that. I was just using a word. So yeah, this kid, it's a kid. He's a sea monster, and he lives under the sea, and his family is very like, we don't go to the surface. And he like discovers that when he does go to the surface, he meets another kid who lives up there, who is also a sea monster, but who mainly lives on the surface. That when you go up there, you just transform into a human. You just look like a human until you get back in the water.
Well, unless you get wet,
right?
Not get back in the water.
Yes.
Even just getting a little bit
touch
wet.
Water, the part of you that gets watery becomes sea monster again, which is a running gag in the movie. They're constantly having to like dry off. So they sort of go up to the surface, and there's this little town nearby, and a lot of it is centered on like this other boy wanting to get a Vespa. Like his whole thing is that he needs a Vespa
so that he can get out of there, so that he can go traveling, so he can see the world. And
there's a joke about that actually in the Honest trailer too. It's like, does one of the C-level people at Disney own stock in Vespa? Because they literally say Vespa by name about 50 times in this movie.
A ton of times.
Through the story, they meet this other girl, this actual human girl, Julia, and it's sort of about how they become friends and how that friendship sort of like weighs on Luca, the main character, and I'm trying to remember Alberto. How that weighs on them sort of as friends too. So it's very much like that's, I feel like, pretty relatable as for kids. I mean, who's your best friend is kind of the thing for a little bit.
100%. There's a little bit of jealousy that happens when they meet a new friend, and this new friend she's teaching Luca about things that Alberto didn't necessarily know about or something like that, because Luca is coming up and he is just not ignorant of the world, and so he's wanting to learn everything. Alberto claims to know all, and
he's wrong about
he's wrong about a lot of the things, but he says everything with such confidence and he just feels like he knows everything. And then later, when Luca learns, hey, the stars actually aren't fish, the stars are stars. That's something that he learns. Then Alberto starts to become jealous that this other person is kind of taking over as this, this role of being looked up to and being relied upon and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a really good one. I do want to take a really quick moment, and this is a new segment. It's not, but let's have a quick serious discussion about art. Can we talk about just like the nature of art for a second?
Wow. I'm not quite qualified for that.
Me either. It's going to be fun.
I mean, you're more than me.
Here's the thing. This is one of those movies that became polarizing for some people, and in my opinion, for bad reasons. And here's what it is. There are members of the LGBTQ community who saw themselves in this film because the movie has a lot to do with like being a young person who needs to hide something significant about themselves from the world, and who is like making friends with people who share that situation and who don't, and how you share that with people who don't understand where you're coming from. That's a big part of this movie. And
when you do finally show yourselves, you can be accepted as.
And so that's a big part of this movie. Now, I would argue that has broader implications to
it doesn't have to be specific,
right? But that's not what I want to get down on, because one thing that's good about movies and about art in general is that the person who creates it, and it is what it is. But also, like, art is different for different people, so you come at it with your own experience.
Absolutely. Nobody's going to look at something and see it the exact same way that somebody else sees it. Even if you have similar experiences. Right. Somebody may look at something different and see something different. So this is not the portion that I want to sort of criticize, because I think that it's valid to come into a situation and bring in your own experience and put that on the art. On the other hand, there were people who heard that was the case and who assumed that that's what this movie was about.
Right.
The point of the movie was about a coming out.
Right.
Yes.
Which I will say, like, if that was the filmmaker's intent, which it wasn't, like he went on record as saying, like, listen, I'm supportive of that perspective, and I'm so glad that people found like a certain amount of comfort in the film that way.
Right.
But that just wasn't his intent. When he made the movie, he made it as like, no, these are young children, and that's not what they're dealing. Those aren't the struggles that we're talking about in this movie. We're just talking about sort of broadly being yourself and being a kid, and like figuring out friendship. But my problem is with people who, for whatever reason, like hear about something about a movie that they don't like, and then they're like, no, I don't like that. That's bad.
Boycott it without even really looking into it.
Yes.
You mean? Yeah.
And so I just want to put into the universe, if you're a person, and I think that the person I'm about to describe is very much sort of like our target audience. If you're a person who like wants to curate the stuff that your kids watch, which is noble and good and reasonable, and you should do that. That's why we're doing this. I just want to encourage you and remind you that the best way to do that is to see it for yourself and make your own judgment.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. You can't say anything about what you have no experience of.
Yeah.
That was a terrible sentence, but
right. And you can't always do that. Like, it's really hard to do that when it's a movie that's in theaters. So like, you can't go and watch the movie in theater. And so like, I understand that to some degree you rely on reviews and maybe a show like our show to give you some idea about something, but don't pigeonhole something, especially something you have immediate access to.
Yeah.
Like a movie that comes out on a streaming service you subscribe to.
We sat down, we had not watched this before. We sat down, we were like, this is Disney Pixar. We're going to sit down and we're going to watch this with Cora. We hadn't pre-watched it or anything, even though we had heard these rumors about this potential, in quotes, agenda that it was trying to push on children. We still sat down and watched it with Cora, and I mean, we watched it with Cora.
Yeah.
I mean, we very rarely let her watch anything that we know no idea about. But also, like, it's Disney Pixar. Like it's very rarely will there be more than a child can really understand, I feel like, in Disney Pixar. I think that they will stretch a child's mind and imagination and stuff like that, but I don't feel like they're trying to push social agendas,
right.
and I'm saying that in quotes. Social.
You can't see her air quotes.
You can't see my air quotes. Social agendas on children through their movies. Now, not yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think, I mean, they're a modern company, and they're gonna make movies that appeal to their audience.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's something that like appeals to their audience. And so but again, like, that's not even really the point. Although I will say, I do think that Pixar has like dipped their toe into like, not really, like, I still contend that Soul is not really a kid's movie at all.
Oh, no. I mean, it's animated, and that's
right.
about, I mean, again, when I meant like something that they can't grasp,
right.
It was, they're not going to put, I don't believe they're going to put something on screen that children are going to watch and be harmed by.
Oh, yeah.
Is what I
Gotcha.
mean.
Yeah.
And whether you take one subject to be more harmful than another subject, I don't think anything that somebody would potentially think is harmful really is going to be brought out by Pixar.
Right.
You know? But I mean, like you said, if you're worried about something, don't go like, oh, I heard blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So we're not going to watch that. Like, that's the opposite of growth.
Yeah. And you don't, and you also don't have to like come out the other side with your mind changed, but just like,
right. And you also don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it, but please don't be getting on like social media and saying, this movie is all about this,
right,
when you have not seen it for yourself.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to have an opinion about something that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
I
love that. That should be a quote. I want to.
It is a quote. I just did it.
Yeah, you can quote Natalie from now on. That was a beautiful thing she just said. So here's the deal. We watched Luca. We like Luca.
Cora has watched it several times now. She really enjoys it.
It's a really unusual Pixar movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would say it's maybe the most light, not lighthearted, but the lightest from a content standpoint. Mm-hmm. It's the lightest Pixar film that's ever existed. Very much so. It is just fun. It's a little unfocused, but it's fun. It's just fun. Yeah. It's not, and this is something that Pixar has a tendency to do, like you said, cramming down something existential down your throats. Yeah. Like, I mean, we all love Inside Out. We all love, I mean, Soul wasn't my favorite, but it was great. Great movie. And we all love the movies that
Pixar brings out. But sometimes you go into it going like, okay, am I going to be a weeping mess on the floor when I'm done with this movie?
Yeah.
With Luca, there is emotion in it.
But they're not going to set any toys on fire.
Oh my goodness. They're not going to... No toys are going to be sliding down into a fiery dumpster of despair while holding hands. And you're not going to have your giant husband sitting next to you in a theater going...
That movie, man.
It got rich hard, man.
Toy Story 3, it hits you, it does a 1-2 punch at the end because it gets you because you think that they're all about to be set ablaze and that's going to be the end of Toy Story.
There was no way they were going to set all those toys ablaze.
And then they save them, and then like 2 scenes later, it's like all about giving away your childhood. And
that hits Rich hard.
Yeah, it hits me right in the feels. Luca's good.
Luca's good. Come into it however you are.
Right. Come as you are.
Come as you are. Take from it what you want.
Yeah.
Take from it the good that it brings you.
Yeah.
If this relates to you in a way that like if you are a member of the LGBTQ community and this relates to you in that way, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Watch this movie and go like, this is me and I see me in this and this is a movie for me. If you are not a member of the LGBTQ community and you've just gone through similar things that Luca or Alberto or Julia have gone through, which is everything.
At some point, we've all gone out into the world and had to make new friends, and that's what this movie's about.
Have a friendship triangle, which I feel like everyone has had.
Yes.
Like, you like them better than me, like that.
Who's your real
happens.
best friend?
It happens, and go into it and come out with that in your heart. Like, just,
Yeah. We, just really quickly here at the end of this, we didn't talk about the cast. The cast is great. Luca is voiced by Jacob Tremblay, who is just an excellent young child actor. He's done a bunch of stuff.
What's he done?
You would ask me, and
well,
off the top of my head,
I don't know his name.
Jacob Tremblay has been in. Let's see. He was in. What's the thing? What's the thing that I'm thinking of? Oh no. Okay, so he kind of came on the scene in Room.
Oh, I never saw Room.
He's the
little boy in Room. Okay.
And he's been in, I mean, that was just in 2015, so he's been in like a movie a year.
Sure.
Since then. He was in let's see, Shut In, The Book of Henry. He was in The Predator.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of things. Apparently he's the voice of, interesting. He's going to be the voice of Flounder in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, cool.
In the live action little, quote, you can't see my air quotes. Live action
the live action Little Mermaid? What?
Yeah. Anyway,
okay, cool.
He's in there. Maya Rudolph is in there. She's the mom. Jim Gaffigan makes his Disney, I think his Disney debut as the dad. And he's one of my favorites. I really like him.
Now, Maya Rudolph in this doesn't sound like Maya Rudolph to me.
Really?
I could hear Jim Gaffigan. A lot of times I can hear those actors that have very particular voices. Maya Rudolph to me doesn't have one of those crazy standout voices, but has a unique enough voice where I can usually tell.
Yeah, she's not already a character.
Right. So, but she does a great job, and I was actually a little bit surprised to hear that was her. All
right. Good one. This has been a good discussion about Luca. Let's take a quick break in Promoville. What do you say?
Great.
And we're back. Natalie always excited to stop in Promoville. She's got to get a souvenir at the truck stop every time.
I don't care about souvenirs.
Natalie is one of the most souvenir-y people. She has this huge I'm just making stuff up. She doesn't care about things.
That sounds terrible. I like t-shirts from places.
Stuff. Yeah, you like to have a t-shirt from a place.
Yeah.
And that's why you're wearing that Buc-ee's t-shirt
I
right now.
am currently wearing a Buc-ee's t-shirt.
Good stuff. Let's talk about the other thing.
This is a joint effort on this particular episode.
Yeah.
We're not splitting up this episode.
Because we've had a weird couple
jointly.
of weeks. Yeah, because we had a weird couple of weeks where we saw a couple of things together.
We've seen more together lately because, like we said, we kind of been passing around sickness. There's been a lot of just hang time in the living room the past couple weeks. Inspector Gadget. Woohoo!
We watched Inspector Gadget, y'all.
Okay, so I think Rich was actually surprised because as we were watching the Inspector Gadget, and we're talking about the Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, the 1999 American superhero comedy film directed by David Kellogg.
As we were watching this, every now and again, I would do a quote as I was watching through it, and Rich went, "How many times have you seen this?"
This girl has this movie quoted. She's got it all in her memory.
I mean, it had been a hot second since I'd seen Inspector Gadget, but I remember it. Like, we watched it a lot. Loved Inspector Gadget. Loved Inspector Gadget.
Two funny things came out of watching this movie for me. One is, this isn't like a thing that came out of it. It's just like a reminder of how funny Matthew Broderick is. Mm-hmm. And also like what his like acting situation was in the late 90s.
What his whole acting situation is.
Because we were talking about how like he was sort of, so he was Ferris Bueller.
Which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
And he was one of those kids, like, in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then, like, in the 90s, he did a lot of voice stuff, and he did a couple of, like, silly things like this. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, like, we were talking about, we're like, yeah, he did a bunch of silly things. I was like, he was also adult Simba in the Lion King. Like,
he was in a Godzilla.
Yep, he was in a Godzilla later on after this.
He was in The Producers.
Yeah, but that was, like, into the 2000s. Like,
yeah, but just listen to that range that I just said.
Yeah. So that was the one thing. The other thing was when Natalie recognized the villain in this movie, whose name is.
Don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I just think it's
Rupert
funny.
Everett.
Rupert Everett. She I don't know why it hit me, but she was just like, "Oh yeah, Rupert Everett." I'm like, do we know him? She's like, "Oh yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff." I was like,
he has.
I was like, what has he been in? She's like, well, he was in My Best Friend's Wedding, and he was in, and she listed like 3 or 4
The Importance
movies.
of Being Earnest.
And she's like, the Importance of Being Earnest and My Best Friend's Wedding. I'm like, these are not movies I watch. Like, I'm not saying I've never seen them because I have, but she's like, yeah, obviously he's in these movies. And I'm like, I was just like, this is a person.
And you went, oh, so things you've seen. Yeah. I was like, excuse you, sir.
Yeah.
Then what did we watch the next day? Where I was like, "Look, there's Rupert Everett."
I don't remember.
It was a voice. He was doing a voice act. I can't remember at the time,
either.
But then I was like, "That's him. That's Rupert
him.
Everett."
We got him again. So apparently, this is a person who just like has
not been on under your radar,
and he's a whole.
He does
thing.
a lot of voice stuff too.
He's his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not familiar with Inspector Gadget. I learned actually an interesting thing because I did a quick pull it up and let's learn some facts about Inspector Gadget. When do you think Inspector Gadget came on the television? Originally, the original
came
cartoon.
On the television, Grandma.
Yeah.
So not the movie. You're talking about like the old animated version,
right? So for those not in the know, this movie came out in 1999. It's based on a cartoon show. When did the cartoon first air?
The 70s.
Oh wow, you went way back. It came on TV in 1983.
I'm not too far.
You're not far off.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought this was an early 90s cartoon.
Well, I remember the style and look of it, and it felt 70s to me when I was thinking back. But I mean, early 80s is close to 70s, I suppose.
It originally came on TV in 1983 with Deke Entertainment, which I remember. I know you didn't have cable, but I remember there was like a whole series of shows that, like, at the beginning, whenever it would be doing like the production, or at the end when it was showing all the production logos really quickly, one of them was always this, it's DIC Entertainment, and it would go Deek. It was this little girl's voice. I always thought that was funny because it sounds like a word. Anyway,
it sounds like a funny word.
Inspector Gadget is it says, I'm just going to read a quick synopsis here. The franchise follows the adventures of a powerful but dim-witted cyborg police inspector named Gadget as he investigates the criminal schemes of Dr. Claw and his organization MAD, and fruitlessly attempts to stop him. However, neither side is aware that it's Gadget's niece Penny and her dog Brain who are truly responsible for thwarting MAD.
Penny, played by
Michelle Trachtenberg in the film.
Later went on to be Harriet the Spy.
She may have been Harriet the Spy before that, actually. I think she was Harriet the Spy earlier, and then she was...
Gotcha.
And I'm not sure what else Michelle Trachtenberg has done since Inspector Gadget, to be honest. According to... I just hovered over her name in Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, she's best known for playing Jennifer in Euro Trip. You know, the sequel to the movie Road Trip.
No.
It's like a raunchy comedy series.
No.
About college students.
No.
Apparently that's what she's best known for. Not Harriet the Spy and not Inspector Gadget. So in this one, we follow, is his name just John Brown? Mm-hmm. He's like a mall security guard.
Yeah.
A la...
Well, he's not a mall. It's like a laboratory. He's the security for the laboratory that what's her face is in charge of. Who
dreams of serving on the actual police force, and who for whatever reason can't. Although he seems like a fit human, and should have been able to achieve that dream. So. I feel like it's not clear in the movie why he can't achieve being a police officer.
He got a letter at the beginning of the movie saying that he wasn't going to be accepted, but they didn't really go into it. It might be
because he's of the dim-witted. Maybe it's the dim-witted part.
He's kind of a dummy.
But he's involved in a terrible accident. Mm-hmm. And he saves the life or attempts. Does he save him? Mm-mm. No, but he tries to save the life of this researcher's father, who she's working on the Gadget program, which is like a way of engineering. They talk about like it's a way of engineering super soldiers or something. Mm-hmm. And later they're going to try and glue some rubber duckies inside of him.
Yeah. The whole thing at the beginning is, we moved the foot. Like, it was important to them to move something robotic with their brains.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Like, at the beginning, it's stuff that they were actually trying to do, like, in the 90s, which is like, how do you give someone like a working prosthetic foot that will move when they want it to move, kind of thing. That's stuff that we were actually trying to like figure out how to do. And at the beginning, like that's really cool because it's like, oh yeah, and there's like a human looking foot there, and so John Brown gets in this bad accident. And she's like, we're gonna save him, whatever we have to do. Let's use the Gadget program.
Right. Therefore, during the surgery scene, they are putting slinkies in him
and
umbrellas, rubber duckies, like you said, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because and we were talking about it, and then on the cartoon show, he had he could do a lot of stuff. So he had he would have his hands were like a Swiss Army knife, which they kind of show a little bit, but his main things were extendy arms and legs, and the helicopter hat, and that was kind of it. And the springs out the bottom of his shoes were a thing a lot. But they showed a lot of things like bubbles and balloons and rubber ducks and really comically silly stuff.
Yeah.
Both then and then later when he's captured, spoiler alert. And they're trying to create the bad Gadget clone, who's also played by Matthew Broderick. And yeah, it's And I know it's a 90s Nickelodeon movie. Like,
right. If the point was to make a detective, a super detective, a member of the police force for the city, I believe they're in San Francisco.
Yeah, that
maybe.
sounds right.
If that's the point, then don't fill somebody with rubber ducks and toothpaste.
Yes, there's a whole scene where he's trying to like learn how to use his new abilities, and he goes, "Go Gadget oil slick," which like also why, but and then it starts shooting this blue goop starts shooting out of his hand. And he's like, "What's going on?" And she goes, "That's toothpaste." And
there's
there's
a ton of toothpaste.
gallons of toothpaste in this man.
Why?
I mean, even if you want to make a case for putting toothpaste in him, like, why not more? Why more than a tube? Like,
why not have a place where you could replace a tube?
Just how much toothpaste do you think he needs? It took up a lot of his body mass.
Matthew Broderick has very nice teeth.
He does. He does have good teeth. And then his clone self, the way that they make him look different in the movie, is these really terrible bleach white veneers.
Yeah.
That really make him look pretty creepy, actually.
Yeah, super big teeth.
Anyway, this was a silly one.
It's a silly one, but it really took me back. It made me really happy. And there were several times where I was like, "Oh, we used to say that all the time." Like a particular quote or, "Oh, my brother really liked that part," or something like that. It made me happy to watch it.
Real quickly, so we talked about Matthew Broderick, Rupert Everett, Michelle Trachtenberg. Also in this movie, Andy Dick plays the sidekick of Dr. Claw, who I don't remember them ever actually calling him Dr. Claw. Maybe that's more towards the end, although he gets his claw about halfway through.
Yeah.
He's in there. Sherry O'Terry is in there. She's the mayor of the town, who is like all about publicity and she
making herself look good.
Yes, because what's his name? Hang on, I'm gonna find
the chief of police.
The police guy's name. What's his name? Quimby, Chief Quimby, who's played by Dabney Coleman. So he he's constantly like, "No, you're really bad." He's the one who tells John he can't be a police officer.
Yeah.
And then he's like constantly on the verge of firing him, and then Sherry O'Terry shows up and she's like all bubbly and all about making sure that he can stay on the force.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Dabney Coleman. Oh, and then D.L. Hughley is the voice of the Gadget Mobile.
The car. Yeah.
And, it's fine. This movie is only 78 minutes long.
It's a very short movie.
It's barely a movie by those standards. They did make a sequel starring French Stewart.
Yeah, I don't remember ever really watching the sequel.
Did you know they're making a reboot? They're rebooting it, and they're making a show.
Really?
Yep. Who have
they cast for Gadget?
There's like a 3D animated show that's in development and a reboot for the film. Right now it is in the being written phase.
Gotcha.
So there's no actors attached to that project yet.
Let's take a quick think. Who would we want to cast for Inspector Gadget?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can go. So you can go just a straight up.
Are we being silly or are we being serious?
Is this like a gritty?
Is this a gritty reboot?
A Gotham version of
right?
Yeah.
If it's Gotham version,
yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Bendy
Bum Cumberbatch.
Bendy Bum Cramberbooch.
I don't know because he's kind of like that tall, lanky kind of thing. I'm thinking body type. Has to be a part of it.
You know who would be interesting and who I feel like we haven't heard from in a second, and who could do the goofiness and also bring a seriousness to it? Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Because he's a few years older now. He's not a kid anymore, but he's not like old.
Yeah, he probably retired. I don't know.
You think he retired after
I don't
he
know.
got fired from being... The dog just flipped out.
She is apparently just super itchy and
really scratched her ear good.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing about this. Oh, I guess let's finish the recast. Andrew Garfield, who would be the silliest option?
The silliest option? Matthew Broderick. Just redo it.
He could come back.
Silliest option, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen. Mm-hmm. Who would be someone like the right age?
Someone the right age?
Yeah, like who... Like, if we were doing it now, let's say we wanted to make exactly the movie they made, but we're making it now.
Oh, dear.
Who is
exactly the Matthew Broderick one?
Who's Matthew Broderick? Who's like mid-30s Matthew Broderick
now?
Right now?
Oh, man.
That's what we got to figure out.
Those Ruby shaking herself. Oh, my goodness. I'll have to...
Do we have one of those?
I'll have to really think that one through.
I don't know if we have one anymore.
Do we have one of those?
Did we run out of Matthew Brodericks?
There's only ever been one.
Oh no! What are we gonna do?
Keep living.
Keep on moving. Maybe just don't make any more Inspector Gadgets.
Yeah,
we could stop making those. Speaking of which, there have been a million versions of this show. It came out in 1983, and then there were a bunch of specials, and then there was Gadget Boy was like a version of Inspector Gadget that got introduced that didn't really pan out. There's a short call, or not short, but like a feature called Gadget and the Gadgetinis. And then Gadget Girl was developed and canceled, and GI Gadget was also developed and canceled. As well as an attempted reboot for the series in 2009. So, like, there's something that they see in Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, it has potential.
Yeah.
It has a lot of potential.
Sure.
It's just, can you do it right?
You know what I've been thinking a lot lately, and I don't, like, ultimately this shouldn't happen because it would kind of ruin the specialness. But there's almost nothing that you couldn't make a really good reboot out of by doing, like, the animation style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
What about... Sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
What about the guy...
I'm with you.
...that plays Steve on Stranger Things?
Okay. Yeah, let's find his name real quick. Because he would be a great option.
I could see that happening. And he feels like the right age.
Uh-huh. Steve from Stranger Things, Joe Keery. Sure. He'd be great.
Now, I don't know if he has Matthew Broderick-esque tendencies, but that's not necessarily what I was looking for. I was trying to think of somebody that could come in at the right age and kind of take it and potentially have like a not a silliness, but like bring some humor to it, but also make it good.
Yeah, sure. He could do it.
And I like him.
He might do good. He's good.
Yeah, I like him.
I would support that if you voted to make movies, that'd be fine. There'd be no reason to vote against him.
Look at our dog.
She's weird.
Such a weird dog.
Right now she's laying on her back as if someone was offering to scratch her belly, and no one is.
Nobody's even around her.
No one's even close.
Okay.
This has been an episode of Not Suitable for Adults.
Surprised? A little bit.
Get used to it.
Is this one gonna take? We'll see.
We're back. We're back, babies.
Well, we're very hopefully
back every single week.
Really hope so.
Man, I've kind of forgotten some of our sign-off stuff. Thank you to Shad Worrell for making the music that we use at the beginning and the end of our show. He has great work out there, and he can be found on SoundCloud. Go to soundcloud.com/shad-worrell. And he'll get you hooked up.
We're on the social media.
We're on social media.
We also
Finally.
have merch.
Yeah, we don't talk about it a lot because we're not. I don't know why. Because we'd love for you to buy our shirts.
No, we have cool shirts.
We have shirts and stickers.
We have shirts that says "Welcome to Promoville."
And we have a shirt that just says "Not suitable for adults" with our logo on it.
Yeah.
You can find those at tpublic.com and search for Not Suitable for Adults. We're in there. If you go to podchaser.com and leave a review, which we would also ask you to do, you can click on merch from our Podchaser page and it'll take you right to it.
Also, you know what? If you just don't care about this at all, but you know somebody else that would care about it,
spread the word.
Spread the word. Even if, you can care about it too and tell other people, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have to like us. But if you know somebody else that would, also tell them about us.
I like that.
Us. Us, yes.
What Natalie's saying is there's a chance you didn't like the last 45 minutes of content, but you might have someone in your life who would.
Absolutely.
And just think about those people.
Yeah, why are you being so selfish?
Think about someone else for a second.
Don't be selfish. Jeez, Karen.
But also thank you so much because...
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Oh man. Okay, we gotta wrap this baby up. We know there's tons of options out there right now. There's lots of streaming. There's lots of TV. There's regular old cable.
What? What is this?
Some people still have it. Not us, but some people.
It's gonna come back around and people are gonna go like, have you guys heard of cable?
Listen, no joke. I was thinking about that the other day. I heard someone, I know I was closing it out. We were so close and I'm going to say something else, but there was someone who's talking about like, I wish that there was a way for me to pay just like one price and get a bunch of those streaming things like all together. And I would pay like $70 a month for that. I'm like, that's just cable. That's just cable with on demand. That's what that is. But listen, all those options are out there. And there's more stuff than ever for kids. Just don't forget that when you're in front of the TV, you are the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye.
Bye.